Hello, good afternoon. Um, my name is Garfield St.Hilaire. This is my Module 1 video, intro video for EDL 850. Um, I am currently in my final semester, hopefully final semester if everything goes well, at Fort Hayes. I am in the Instructional Technology program, Masters of Instructional Technology. I have been employed as an instructional developer for quite some time now. I'm not a classroom teacher. I've not worked in the classroom setting, but I have had experience creating training material for adult learners, predominantly in the corporate sector. Um, so this course, I actually tried to avoid this course because I didn't know how it would benefit me, but it was part of uh, of the track for the degree. So in anything, even if you're not interested in it in the beginning, you will gain some knowledge. And so far, just going through Module 1 and the readings, I actually did learn quite a few things. So it has been beneficial. I've been married for 22 years. That's my wife. I have two kids, a boy and a girl, son and a daughter. And so it's a family of four. We're pretty athletic. My daughter plays volleyball. Um, and we have a dog as well, Ava. She's 3 years old. My son plays basketball. He's been playing basketball since he was shorter than me. As you can see now, he's much taller than me. Well, he's actually my height in this picture, but now he's actually taller than me. My daughter is 15. My son just turned 16. So they're very close in age. So let's get to the questions of the module. What kinds of support do public schools receive at the following levels of government, local, state, and federal? Again, I'm not a classroom teacher. I've never worked in a classroom setting, so most of my knowledge is going to come directly from reading the text that comes along with this course. So from a local level, well, I would say actually from a federal level, let's start from the hierarchy. Most of the day-to-day operations of schools to take place at the state and local level. However, when Congress passes a federal budget each year, it sets aside money to fund about 10% of government-run schools' operating costs. So obviously, when Congress passes the fiscal year and then they're getting the funds together, then they collect money and provide funding to the schools throughout the states. The federal contribution of public schools includes funds from the Department of Education, as well as other federal agencies such as the Department of Health and Human Services, Head Start program, and the Department of Agricultural School Lunch program. Um, Also, part of the federal laws that most impact education concerns are equal access to education. Obviously, that's very important. Safeguarding students' constitutional rights and safeguarding teachers' constitutional rights. Should have mentioned this earlier. My wife is a teacher. She's been a teacher for 20 years. Um, so I've been picking her brain when she allows me to. Obviously, when she comes home, the last thing she wants to do is talk about education. But so I do pick her brain when I get a chance. And also, students are therefore protected against discrimination based on race, gender, religion, and disability or ethnicity through the 14th Amendment. From a state standpoint, state governments commonly delegate responsibility for the accountability and operation of government-run schools to local bodies who decide exactly how schools will operate. In order to accomplish this, state departments of education create school districts. Um, I live in Miami, Florida, where I am. I believe we have Miami-Dade County School District. We have Broward. We have West Palm Beach, Marion County. We have a few counties in Florida alone. The states are the entities primarily responsible for the maintenance and operation of public schools. So the states are also heavily involved in establishment, selection, and regulation of curriculum, teaching methods, and instructional materials in their schools. Consequently, each state has different standards and policies which may impact the quality of education offered. Um, so now, from a local level, I've just obviously, from what I gather from reading the text, um, the um, local officials have the most power, and which I think is it's how it should be because they're the front line. in a manner of speaking, as far as getting education to our kids. So the state delegates the responsibility of operations to the local government, who ultimately is in charge of the majority of funding. And the funding is collected via property taxes on all homes and businesses. And in Florida, I do believe we do get some funding from the lottery as well. State departments of education create school districts. In some states, the geographic lines that determine counties, parishes, or boroughs also determine school districts. In most, however, school districts are drawn independently of other administrative boundaries. Each school district is governed by a school board whose members are either elected by the public or appointed. Uh, and so we have school board members, which are, uh, they're not employed as far as getting a paycheck, but we have the superintendent, who is obviously like a CEO, um, in a manner of speaking, and that is a paid position. It is not a position that is not paid. Which of the three levels of government have the most influence over these? And it's six components. CLO 6.1: Evaluate, develop, and implement management, communication, technology, school level governance, and operation systems that support each student's learning needs and promote the missions and vision of the school. 6.2: Evaluate, develop, and advocate for a data informed and equitable resource plan that supports school improvement and student development. And 6.3: Effectively evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, and policies and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. 6.1, what I've determined was local governments establish curriculum, staffing goals, and direct the policies and procedures. As stated earlier, they're the front line. They're on the ground, whether it's a superintendent to school board employees to principals to the staff, the teachers, from the local level. That's where all of those needs in 6.1 are met. 6.2 would be the state. The state establishes standards and delegates their daily operations to meet those standards to the local level. Each state provides support and guidance to the local level. So each state has autonomy over other states as far as how they wish to run that specific state, and then they delegate that information and from a management standpoint to the local level. 6.3. Federal laws, again, ensure that students have equal access to education, safeguarding students' constitutional rights and safeguarding teachers' constitutional rights. These three alone obviously mirror the reflective, evaluate, communicate about, and implement laws, rights, and policies and regulations to promote student and adult success and well-being. So how does all of this support educational success and well-being of each student and adult? I believe having these three components, local, state, and federal, take ownership over tasks that can lead to student success is key. Each role is specific and necessary and plays an important part in ensuring students have equal access to education and support from a high level perspective, as well as specific needs and support that may be necessary for their specific district or region. The CLO correlation. I personally have a better understanding of the entities that control a student's track for success, how they support each other ultimately, um, how the federal supports the state, and how the state supports the local. I have a better grasp on the hierarchy of the educational leadership, and I have a better understanding of the laws in place to help ensure and protect a student's success. Reflection. I'm an instructional developer in the corporate sector, and in my final semester, so I'm not entirely sure how this assignment is relevant to my current learning, the relevancy to my current learning, especially since it's a virtual class setup. Um, during this whole pandemic that we're currently in, it's kind of weird to see, like, sometimes you see the governor going against the superintendent as far as mask mandate and things like that. So when you see someone using their power and or authority, um, and then you have someone who has an opposing view and they're going back at it, you kind of understand um, who is ultimately going to be in control of what happens. So from a reflection standpoint, I did gain some perspective. But it, I also have two high school students. My son is a uh, junior. My daughter is now a freshman in high school. So the information I've learned has given me a better understanding of the resources available to my kids and also what is expected from the educational institution. Um, it's a little different because my kids both go to a charter school, so it's not a public school, but the charter schools do take a lot um, um, guide a lot of guidance from the public schools, even down to the days that they have off and teacher work days and things like that. So some of the information is can be correlated as well. And this is a list of my references. I hope you guys enjoyed this module one, and I look forward to learning from each and one of you and going through this course and finding information all helpful. Thank you.